Science is more than a body of knowledge. It's a way of thinking, a way of skeptically interrogating the universe with a fine understanding of human fallibility. If we are not able to ask skeptical questions, to interrogate those who tell us that something is true, to be skeptical of those in authority, then we're up for grabs for the next charlatan, political or religious, who comes ambling along.
I'm a skeptical robot.
猫のグミグレープゼリーみたいな毛並みマイクと腹をかき捨ててリンクサイドに座る技を指示する猫の髪帽子に指輪が入ってるよドラップキスフレックスマットはどこ紫猫の髪彼にはキッズの命と秘密のダジャレがあるレスリングのカオス彼こそがそれだエルボードロー彼にはジョークがある彼は解説の王者だボディスラムと紫のフレア神の声がどこにでも響く
Welcome to Skeptical Robot. We are joined today by friend of the show, Trucker Andy, to talk about the Satanic Panic's attack on heavy metal music. Thank you for being here, everybody. We have a great show. We appreciate everybody being here.
Welcome to the show! Ow!
Ow!
Sha-na-na-na-na-knees. Are you adequately prepared to rock? Yeah. Is that how it goes?
Yeah. But I digress.
Oh, nobody start playing their leg as a guitar. I'm out of here.
I already done. And as soon as I could show it on animes, I will definitely be using it. Thank you for being here, Andy. You and I spoke about this particular topic, and you knew so much about it. I just wanted to have you here. I was like, you seem like an expert. You understood this. You knew the timeline of it, and you knew a lot of the details. And I appreciate you being here for this.
My
Thank
pleasure,
you
yeah.
very much.
Yeah.
And so let's get started, I guess. Give me like a little bit of an outline of what you do know. Well, you know what, actually, let's start here by saying this is the third episode of the Satanic Panic series. We've already covered 2 other topics about the Satanic Panic, and we're going to actually have a brief overview of them soon. But tell me what the Satanic Panic had to do with heavy metal music from your perspective. You don't have to give me like the whole history, but just kind of tell me what your experience was at the time as we were both, alive. Well, you were. I'm much, much younger than you. I'm in my late teens. I've heard about this stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bands started.
You could crack a laugh.
Bands started.
I'm not a middle-aged man.
Into it to a certain degree, even before the panic really happened, because, like you covered already, the whole Charles Manson crimes put a lot of fear into people's hearts, and then they were looking for answers and reasons to justify how something so awful could happen, and they land on people being influenced, outside influences, giving people ideas to do crazy shit like this, and that all comes back to video games and movies and music like Black Sabbath. And when your album is called Nativity in Black and it seems like it's all about worshiping the devil, then you're gonna get religious nuts focusing on you, saying it's your fault, and from there they start talking about backward masking and finding hidden messages that are barely comprehensible when you play the music backwards. And a lot of people like Judas Priest and things that had religious overtones,
context, maybe,
as theatrics for themes of the album or artwork for the album. These things all became targeted by a moral majority, and then they started taking the artists to task to a point where artists needed to fight for their First Amendment rights. Party.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that basically is people become self-appointed gurus in determining what is and what is not appropriate art for American culture. And while everyone's allowed to have their opinion, the hardest part of the Satanic Panic for me to comprehend and believe is when these people are given power and credibility. Just simply by, making statements of what they believe to be right, what they believe to be wrong, and then other people buying into it and allowing them to actually dictate rules and regulations for the American public or artists. That is the craziest part of the Satanic Panic to me. But you're absolutely right, in which we're going to see a real theme here. Or not a theme, I guess a progression. That's probably a better way to describe it, is where the Satanic Panic starts with a full-on grift. It is a fraud. And it starts with the book Michelle Remembers, where 2 people conspired, basically, to just full-on lie for the sensationalism of a book, but the book grows legs and becomes this valued resource to a lot of people, in which they believe it's true and start to believe it and give it power and credibility over medical organizations, law enforcement organizations, they just buy it and believe it until it all comes crumbling down, but the damage had been done. The media had no problem spreading lies, spreading sensationalism, spreading, more bombastic, crazy ideas, all for whatever their own motives were, but also to raise the hysteria and panic of North Americans to believe that there were these evil Satanist cults or satanic cults that were trying to undermine authority and government and poison the youth of North America.
Oh my God. Not the government. Would somebody please save the government from Satan?
Exactly. And and it's funny, Gummi made what I think was one of the greatest comparisons, and I've just been rolling with it because it was so good. It's McCarthyism all over again. Because as soon as you tried to express some reason and logic to say to those put in charge that, maybe there is no link to Satanism, guess what happens? You get called a Satanist. And you're now on the list of Satanists.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a great comparison because that's exactly what happens. But where it starts, or where the Satanic Panic starts is, this lie. It's a full-on fraud. It's an absolute lie, a grift. But then we see it in episode 2. We talk about Dungeons and Dragons, where there's a real evolution from where the focus on Dungeons and Dragons is, in which it starts with a grift also. This private investigator writes, same thing, sensationalist, crazy theories, unproven ideas that eventually get proven false. But then it crosses over into this other territory where the mothers or the parents of some of these kids who have committed suicide after playing Dungeons and Dragons simply cannot blame themselves. They want someone else to blame when all the facts, all the evidence suggests they were just bad parents. And it becomes a coping mechanism. The Satanic Panic starts with a grift, becomes a coping mechanism right over Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, and that gave us the dumbest organization name ever. Bothered at Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. Bothered about
I'm
Dungeons
sorry,
and
that's
Dragons.
still, I hate to use the word, but that bothers me. Like bothered. Like, I don't know. It's perturbed. You know what I mean? It's like that. Like,
it's so
you make
bad.
An organization if you're bothered. Like, I think they came up with bad first. They're like, all right, what can we use at bad?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It should stand for bored about doing dishes, because it's all just housewives that fucking have nothing better to do,
Exactly.
And so the reason I wanted to go in this order is because of kind of the Venn diagram of first episode, full on grift, nothing else, full on grift. Episode 2 kind of has different shades of grift into cope. Third episode, which is today's heavy metal music, 100% cope. That's all this is. We're going to see.
And metal.
Well, I mean, yes, it's metal, a lot of metal.
I wore my metal shirt because it's central to the show, but then I'm offsetting the Satanism with my cat mom coffee mug, so I'm safe. It's safe from Satan.
Nope, you're one of those gays. Also satanic.
Yeah.
What we're going to see here is full on cope, just absolute cope, where parents just simply cannot explain the behavior of their teenagers, and they need someone else to blame. And that idea of blaming someone else grows its own legs. It becomes now fashionable within the Satanic Panic and within this area to not blame yourself, to find some other scapegoat, to find someone else to explain the weird things that might happen in someone's life that just don't have an explanation or a reason.
It's the rule now, guys. It's like, how come the teachers at my kid's school didn't raise my children better than me? Am I supposed to be making decisions for my kids when the teacher sees them more than I do? So it's the teacher fucked up, not me. What am I going to do? Blame myself?
Andy, God, I really wish we could I'm gonna clip exactly what you said because we're gonna hear practically those exact fucking words
We
in
play the
this
episode
video
backwards.
package.
It'll work. Don't worry.
We're literally at one point going to hear a mother say that the school wasn't doing enough of their job to prevent this kid's behavior. I mean, literally. And it's a parody of itself. It's so sad, but you're exactly right. That's exactly what it is that parents just want someone to blame, and the outsiders, the weirdos, are just easy targets. And then when they start, including some of this satanic imagery, which is meant to be a symbol of rebellion, it's theatrics, it's meant to appeal to a younger audience, suddenly they're taken seriously. They must be real, legitimate, satanic, I don't know what you would just call it, Satanists, who are killing babies and eating human, killing and eating people, and it takes on such a crazy, crazy turn.
Yeah. There is a show on Peacock that was a one and done, canceled. It cliffhangs at the end of season 1 and then got canceled, but Bruce Campbell plays the sheriff in it, so I instantly checked it out.
Nice.
I'm intrigued.
I'm sold already.
And it's called Hysteria, and it's all about the Satanic Panic. And I'm not going to say that it's a fantastic series. I think that it starts off really well, and then it doesn't stick the landing. But if you like Bruce Campbell and you're interested in the Satanic Panic, it's a funny show.
I'm going to check that out.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you say that it's not a perfect series, I feel like Bruce Campbell really is the poster boy for beautifully flawed films. So I could see that. Yes.
Beloved.
Did you guys ever watch that movie, I Am Bruce Campbell?
I remember watching some of it. I never finished it.
Where he fights the Chinese ghost. The only thing, the most memorable thing was the theme song, because Guan Yu was like the ghost. He's like a person in like Chinese history, and his name's Guan Yu. And I remember the song was like Guan Mi Guan Yu. that was like the most memorizable thing for me. Was the end credits song.
Not to digress into Bruce Campbell talk. Did you see Bubba Hotep where he's?
I have.
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right.
That movie does not get enough credit for being just such a great film.
I'm going into this, sorry. And I was kind of the teacher last episode. This one, I'm straight up student because I don't really know about this. I was listening to different music at the time. The only thing I know that I remember is Judas Priest, where it's like the beast had a number and the number is 666.
There's Iron Maiden.
Maiden. There you go. That shows you what I know.
But Judas Priest is going to be a very big part of today's video package. Without any further delay,
episode 3
of our God damn it.
Wow. Leave all of this in.
That's the day off, man. All right. Without any further delay, episode 3 of our series on the Satanic Panic, heavy metal music.
What a great intro. Not derivative of something derivative at all.
What do you mean?
Yeah. Nothing. Good job.
I have to show you because I know you guys have. This is something I made like when I first came around. Because now they see the strangest thing. I did a series of photos called Stranger Things, but stranger was spelled like STRAYNGER. So, and I put like Ray DeVito in scenes of Stranger Things of photos. I have to show it to you.
That's funny. Oh no, this is totally capitalizing on the Stranger Things finale. That's what motivated me to do it. I was very open about it. I was like, yeah. So let's take full advantage of it. By the way,
Do it.
finale fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Wasn't there like a hidden episode or some shit, or was that another being?
No.
That was a rumor because
Yeah.
people were so incredibly disappointed with the finale that an internet rumor got started by trolls that there was going to be an extra episode that actually corrected the finale. Oops. I can't believe anybody believed it.
I only watched the first season, so
And that's
I didn't even have a problem with the finale. I just had a problem with the performances of the actors in the series. They were all so terrible. But
They were terrible. Oh come on! You didn't have a problem with the finale. The finale.
I did, but
There was no explanation as to the motives or the Vecna's objectives or his goal, his plan. Nothing.
know.
And then when you think it's over, for absolutely no reason whatsoever, they decide to retrocon its own finale. I mean, like. Oh.
rewrites on rewrites.
Oh, it was so terrible. All right.
Oh, you know that girl who's like the meek victim in the first season? Now she's Linda Hamilton.
A mastermind. Yeah.
Yeah, the fucking Dustin kid. Trying to make those two characters badass was so fucking stupid. When you have the 6'2" black kid standing there waiting to be a fucking hero, and then give the girl the fucking machine gun. Get the fuck out of here.
And they give Winona Ryder the axe or whatever.
Oh, God.
And okay, all right, hold on. I'm sorry, I'm totally going to get into this now. I hated it so fucking much.
Yeah.
As a practical matter, what did retroconning the ending affect? It affected nothing. Like there was no reason for it whatsoever when the ending had already been kind of declared, if you want to call it that.
Are you talking about like the story of 11 at the end?
Exactly.
Or, yeah, I think it's
it
just to
served
leave
no
it
purpose.
open for a spin-off or something. I don't know.
But
I'd say there's going to be a movie like 5 years from now.
But see, but the thing, but like, what am I trying to say here? Her character's development and arc was all about not wanting to hurt or disappoint or cause sadness or fear to Hopper, and that's exactly what she does purposefully by the end of it. You know,
She's the fucking word. The way the outfit that they put her in, that like Rocky 3 I'm training outside in Russia outfit, where
Yes,
it looks like
yes.
she's on her period for 3 months in a like straight.
like
And
a depressed
I don't know-
housewife. Yes.
Yeah, and whatever's going on with her face, like she has Easter Island face, or I don't know what happened to her, but
There's an
looked
uncanny
bizarre.
valley thing going on with her face. I wonder if she had like work done. There was something
definitely.
odd.
So, I don't know, but whatever her face grew into is unwatchable.
Yeah. It looks like what she did is what all the chicks are doing now is getting like their faces vacuumed. They're not getting like facelifts anymore, or, like cut up. They're just sucking the fat out and it looks horrible.
Oh,
Like, what's her
yeah.
name? Who looks Wednesday? Who looks
Tony from
Oh,
Hack the
God.
Movies keeps pointing that out, that like Anya Taylor-Joy and some of these other actresses are getting their cheeks removed, which is what
Yeah.
you're referring to. They're just getting the inside of their cheeks.
I thought you were gonna say Tony's getting it done. I was like, all right, okay,
Yeah.
I'm for it.
You can't get that when you're that young. There's just no purpose for it. Like, ugh. But yeah, that's what I didn't get was like the entire arc of 11's story was that she like loved Hopper, thought of him as a father, didn't want to hurt him, but then purposefully causes him sorrow by running away with no objective and no reason to run away.
Yeah.
Like I was like,
You're not
is
allowed to
ridiculous.
blow yourself up. I'm gonna blow myself up. Okay, now we're just playing blow yourself up chicken. Okay.
But there was no reason for her to be in hiding. What was the reason? Like, all right, I'm sorry. We're here about heavy metal music.
Fuck that show.
I know, fuck that show.
Sorry to derail the episode.
No, I needed to get it out. It needed to be said. All right, here we go.
On September 19th, 1985, a congressional hearing about rock music lyrics captured the nation's attention. Over the course of 5 hours, a music expert, a reverend, a group of parents, and quite a few deeply horrified politicians publicly reprimanded the music industry for their lack of morals. This is Democratic Senator Fritz Hollings.
But in all candor, I would tell you it's outrageous filth. If I could find some way constitutionally to do away with it, I would.
The leader of...
So let's just start off by saying that this is how big of a deal music got, where people were sitting in front of Congress to talk about lyrics and content of music.
Luigi,
Seems like it's a crazy world. What's up?
you better clip "This is outrageous filth" and use it in our opening.
Oh, that's good. I like that. Don't let me forget about that. That's good.
Yeah, but these are all people that think they have the moral high ground, trying to that whole like I don't know, I can't define pornography, but I know it when I see it, and saying that anything that they disagree with is wrong. And when other people are fine with it, and it's like, oh, have you ever written a song? Do you know how fucking hard it is? To rhyme. Like, what am I supposed to rhyme Satan with? There's only so many things that I can write about. So
what rhymes with Felicia Gillespie?
Yeah. What rhymes with Gillespie? Purple. So when you try and take these words away from us, we're not going to stand for it.
And who were these women who had this bug up their ass about music? Let's hear who they were.
They had nothing up their asses. You can tell
part of the problem.
Exactly.
Of this charge was the Parents Music Resource Center, or PMRC, a group led by the wives of a few Washington politicians. And what started out as a
one of them was Tipper Gore, the wife of future Vice President Al Gore, inventor of the internet. And the other one was the wife of James Brady, who was why'd I blank? Secretary of State, I believe is what he was. But they were politician wives.
Mike Brady.
And Al Gore, guy who's always right about everything, right?
Right.
Inconvenient truth, all that happened, right?
And it's crazy. I guess the entitlement is what is kind of most shocking to me about this part right here is entitlement. We're the wives of lawmakers. We want our time in the sun, and we want to talk about something that bothers us. Doesn't matter if it bothers anybody else. It bothers us, and we need an audience, and we need a congressional hearing, and we need attention to talk about it. And we are going to deem what is appropriate music.
This is how the conversation went. The wives went to the husbands like, look, if you guys are going to fuck your secretaries, at least give us an organization.
And they said, I'm listening.
Yeah.
Sounds fair.
We can fuck our secretaries, right?
But we're clear on the secretary fucking, right? We don't have to talk about that. Yes, that's exactly. I'm pretty sure it probably had something to do with it. But it's just amazing to me. And it's amazing that, to be alive in a moment like this where the wife of a lawmaker simply says, I want to be able to determine what is right and wrong for the American public. It's amazing. It's entitlement. That's absolute ego, narcissism.
It's that is just, I never understood that. Like, oh, the wife, like, the husband for a female politician is like, motherfucker, you're the passenger in the car. You ain't driving. No one gives a shit about you.
Exactly. And even if the politician themselves, the husbands were to make this argument, it would still be scoffed at. It's like, who the fuck are you to tell me what I do, for entertainment purposes within the bounds of the law? That's what's crazy. Yeah. Anyone. It's just the fact that it was the wives made it all the more hilarious.
Yeah.
dialogue about explicit lyrics.
Cole Porter's The Birds Do It, The Bees Do It can hardly be compared with Wasp, I-F-U-C-K like a beast.
Turned into an all-out attack on...
That's funny. I would really be struggling to not laugh. But what's crazy is there are three very successful musicians at this time who come to the defense of art, of music, of lyrics.
Sorry, Luigi, not to walk past that comment, though, but there is a comedian out there that did a bit when everybody was canceling Baby It's Cold Outside because it sounded date rapey. And this guy's like, yeah, we don't want to talk
Yeah.
about a guy trying to convince a woman to stay for another drink on a cold winter's night. But Wet Ass Pussy is the number one song in the country right now. He's like, let's cancel Baby It's Cold Outside. And then he starts reading the lyrics of each of the songs and saying, this is the one that they want to get rid of, not Wet Ass Pussy. It's like, what are we doing?
That is hilarious. Selective outrage. And also, anytime I ever mention the song Wet Ass Pussy, I don't know why I would just crack myself up by saying wet ass and pussy. Totally childish and immature, but I would always make myself giggle. But yes, 3 musicians come to the defense and speak to Congress. And what's crazy is it's a very broad spectrum of genres of music in which these 3 artists we have.
And how rock stars portrayed themselves to kids, from music videos and album covers to the names of fan clubs.
Mr. Snyder, what is the name of your fan club?
The fan club is called the SMF Friends of Twisted Sister.
And what does SMF stand for when it's spelled out?
It stands for the Sick Motherfucking Friends of Twisted Sister.
Is this also a Christian group?
I don't believe that profanity has anything to do with Christianity.
3 musicians, Frank Zappa, John Denver, and Dee Snider of Twisted Sister, defended their music.
That's a sitcom.
That's crazy, right? It's what's up. Frank Zappa, John Denver, and Dee Snider. And believe it or not, I'm going to guess that these 3, and again, this is theoretical. I don't know that this is true, but I'm going to guess that these 3 were probably picked out of a pool of other musicians who were willing to talk, because these 3 really, really did a great job of articulating their point that you can't censor, you just can't censor art in this way, that these have audiences. These musics have, each genre of music has an audience that wants to, I don't know, just kind of experience what that genre of music has to offer. And sometimes it crosses lines of what might insult some people. And they did just such a fantastic job of defending themselves and answering questions. And as eclectic of a group as it is, they did a great job.
Yeah, articulate is a great way to describe these 3. And it did prompt me to gain respect for John Denver as an artist that I would never really care or listen about, but somebody that is going to say, well, sure, I'm squeaky clean and I am doing the things that you all that are sitting on the other side of the aisle are on board with. Like, you think what I do is cool, but I'm here to say that what these 2 guys that I'm sitting next to are doing, I'm going to defend their right to say what they want to say, whether we all disagree with it or not. So,
exactly. He's saying there's a place for Dee Snider. There's a place for Frank Zappa. There's a place for heavy metal. Even though I am, the poster child for what you want, I'm not going to, restrict anyone else's right to do something different. That you're saying it very well.
Yeah, and props to John Denver for that. But then also, I mean, I gained more respect for Dee Snider, not for about like people needing to earn my respect or whatever, but it was like, oh, I had no idea that this guy was so well spoken. You look at him, he looks like a freak show, but then you put him in front of the microphone and he's making all these great points. So that was the real the juxtaposition of this shock value performer versus a well thought out argument. And then Frank Zappa, I didn't really know anything about him. And I went on to, I know that the lyrics can be very profane, but I went on to listen to more and more of his music and learn what a talent he is. So
he's a genius when it comes to musical ability. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So when I saw this as a kid, because when this was going on, I was watching it, not really fully understanding what was happening, but that's how I first learned who Frank Zappa even was from this. And I knew who Twisted Sister was from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Obviously a fan. And I went on to be a fan of Frank Zappa.
It's funny that we both know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, John Denver got my respect. Frank Zappa got me as a fan. And Twisted Sister convinced me that Dee Snider is a fucking genius.
And you know what he didn't do was he didn't have a podcast, bring someone on, and when they disagreed with him, he kicked them off, and then argued to the fourth wall with no response, and then bring them back on, and then wait to gather responses the next day, and then argue with the fourth wall again. He responded to every question they had, and he answered it. And he was willing to take any question and give any answer, all in the defense of art. And man, you know, maybe respect is the only word. It does seem just weird because, like you said, not that they needed our respect, but you gain an appreciation for someone who has a mind for intelligence and a mind for art as well.
And they'll go to bat. They'll go to bat for what they believe in.
Yeah, he had backbone. Yeah, exactly.
So when do we get to the wives organizing the death of John Denver?
They planted a bomb on the plane that crashed.
They pulled the cords.
Citing the importance of free speech.
Discipline and self-restraint, when practiced by an individual, a family, or a company, is an effective way to deal with this issue. The same thing when forced on a people by their government, or worse, by a self-appointed watchdog of public morals, is suppression.
So what's great is that, like you said, this is the squeaky clean guy. This is the guy that actually checks all of the boxes for qualifying for the requirements of this organization that wants to edit and control music. He already qualifies as being, you know, their poster child, poster boy for their requirements, and he turns it back and says, you're a bunch of self-appointed, you know, no good nicks, and
what gives you the right?
Knitting N-word we could say, Luigi.
You're just a knitting circle. You're not even politicians. You're not even our government. It's bad enough if the government does it, but you're just a bunch of people, citizens, trying to inflict power that the government isn't trying to. And I mean, that was a real twist of the knife of saying, fuck you.
He said, go lay some eggs, you hens.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, he's just like, you know, look, hey, give me all the compliments you want. Doesn't mean I'm down for your cause. Fuck you.
And will not be tolerated in a democratic society.
That 5-hour-long hearing wasn't an isolated incident. It was just one moment in the war on rock music that had been infiltrating American culture and politics for years. It was that war that gave us this sticker, one we pretty much take for granted today.
Given the American philosophy, I think we've given the so-called creative artist a wide berth. Somehow we must send a message to the recording and radio industry, enough is enough. You've gone too far. In the words of the heavy metal band Twisted Sister, we're not going to take it anymore.
And it's
he
crazy.
He thought he dropped the mic on that one.
Exactly.
He swore he said something.
He was so proud of that. He wrote that down. He wrote that down and rehearsed it in the mirror the night before. But
I'm surprised he didn't look to the left and wink at the camera.
Pick up the mic and just drop it.
Yeah, my guy thought he killed it there. He swore he was somebody.
But it's funny because it had the opposite effect of what was intended. It was more of a badge of honor for people that were putting out edgy content. They're like, look, this is the R-rated good stuff, not because you could also get censored version, like the Walmart cut of Beastie Boys' Licensed to Ill, which nobody fucking wants. So having that sticker on there means you're getting the legit shit, you know?
I cut some of that out, but because I felt like it was kind of a weird rabbit hole. But you're right, that is a part of the story where Walmart was actually the largest seller of CDs. So record companies were like, hey, look, I want to encourage artistic expression, but we got to also look at the dollars and cents here. And if Walmart refuses to sell, an album because they disagree with some aspect of it, we got to make a compromise. And of course the artist didn't want to, but the record labels had to do it because they're like, we can't not utilize this this distribution of our records and this revenue stream. Right. And that is a part of this. Maybe we'll talk about that another time. But yeah, I wanted to stay focused. But yeah, that is a really big part of the story.
It's the difference between creating art and running a business. That's why they take the Taiwanese flag off of Maverick's jacket in Top Gun 2 so that the people of China will still spend the yen to go see it. But if the Taiwanese flag is on the jacket, they're not going to show the movie. So I guess the studio's going to digitally remove the flag off of the jacket that was on there in the first movie, but whatever. Gotta make that Quan.
That's funny. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
That's happened. Yep.
Wow. Then
again, they did take John Boyega off the cover of episode 7 because they were like, black don't sell in China.
But that's also why we covered John Cena when it turned out John Cena is fluent in Mandarin Chinese. And when Fast and the Furious 7 or 8 came out, or 9, I don't know which one he's in, but he made a faux pas of saying that Taiwan could be the first country to see Fast and the Furious 8, and China's like, whoa, Taiwan's not a country, they're ours. So kiss the ring and bend over and take it up the ass fluently in Mandarin Chinese. So that's the whole impetus of John Cena's apology that we covered on All Apologies podcast.
I was about to tell you, please, plug whatever you want. Go for it.
All Apologies podcast on YouTube. Please like and subscribe.
And that particular apology was pretty impressive.
It's great.
I didn't know John Cena was fluent in Mandarin Chinese either. When you see him do it, it's like, is this real? Like, I thought it was AI for a little while.
I think at this point he'd say that he's not fluent in it. I think he said as much on Joe Rogan recently.
All right, so that's an overview of basically the context of this environment for heavy metal music. But I do want to also have a short, very, very short recap of episodes 1 and 2 of the Satanic Panic that we did here, because it's going to put this concept into perspective, like I said earlier, where we're going to see the progression of the hysteria, where it starts with a fraud and grows into simply using it as a cope.
I'm sorry, my dog's asking me to pee. I'll be right back. Sorry about that.
No, go ahead.
On November the 1st, 1980, a Canadian psychiatrist, Lawrence Pasda, published a book called Michelle Remembers. The book outlines therapy sessions carried out on a woman named Michelle Smith. The book details how, under hypnosis, Michelle regressed back to a 5-year-old version of herself, and over the course of 600 total hours of therapy, recounted how she was a victim of satanic ritual abuse at the hands of her mother and several other members of a satanic cult during the mid-50s. Pasda states that some of these recovered memories involved a worldwide secret satanic organization where one ritual even summoned Satan himself. Not surprisingly, the book has long since been discredited. However, this spurred an alarming wave of satanic ritual abuse cases being reported to authorities.
Now, Andy, I don't know if you watched all of the first episode regarding Michelle Remembers, but that pretty much sums it up. But leaving out one huge important part of the story, which was that it was all premeditated with the Catholic Church, and they actually took money from the Catholic Church during the psychiatric therapy sessions, because the psychiatrist who wrote the book, Lawrence Pasda, had actually proposed the idea to a local bishop in his church, or priest, I don't remember what the title was, but he proposed the idea of, what if we can write this book that exposes Satanists and has this conclusion in which Jesus saves the life of this woman, and the church gave him $10,000 as funding money to get the ball rolling. And it was all a fraud. It was all a giant fraud. And they even went on a game show. They got on Oprah. They got on Phil Donahue. They went on a press tour. They were given credibility by psychiatric organizations to talk at events where they would do continuing education. And they actually even started getting paid by law enforcement to train police officers and FBI agents in satanic ritual abuse. And that goes on until someone just simply says, and it was actually the psychiatrist's ex-wife who says, nope, it's all a lie, and I'm going to show the FBI agents who were paying them why it's a lie. And they actually go to this girl's school and simply ask for yearbooks during the time period in which she claimed she had been abducted for over a year, and she was in every yearbook. No one had done the most basic of research to prove it. The media just liked the story and took off with it and refused to fact check anything.
Laziness. It's the biggest sickness in this country right now.
Laziness and sensationalism. The media didn't want to know the truth. They're like, we like this story better. And they spread it. And it grew its own life. Insane. So, yes, that's what I meant, if you weren't aware, how the whole the Satanic Panic was birthed in fraud.
In what became known as Satanic Panic. The Satanic Panic was a nationwide phenomenon where throughout the 80s, over 12,000 unsubstantiated cases of satanic ritual abuse were reported to authorities as a result of the book Michelle Remembers being published. At the height of the panic, it was alleged that a global satanic cult that includes the wealthy and elite, in which children are abducted, were behind this evil conspiracy. This strange wave of alleged satanic ritual abuse cases brought together many different peoples of the United States to tackle the issue.
D&D has become popular with children anywhere from grammar school on up.
Yeah, but it's just your character that does it on the sheet of paper.
Not so with a lot of adults, and says there are 28 deaths related to Dungeons and Dragons.
We're really talking about intense violence.
And if you didn't watch episode 2, in which the focus was on Dungeons and Dragons, we did talk about it a little bit earlier, in which there were a couple of deaths associated with it, only because 5 million people were playing Dungeons and Dragons at one point. 5 million. And out of those 5 million, I believe there might have been 3 of those people committed suicide. Mm-hmm. So there is a correlation that they were playing Dungeons and Dragons at some point in their life. One of them supposedly was one of those people who committed suicide was part of a school organizational or school organization that was run by the principal to keep kids out of trouble. So they had them play board games, and he had played Dungeons and Dragons for less than 9 hours. But his parents insisted that Dungeons and Dragons had taken control of his mind, and he lost touch with reality and committed suicide.
That's how potent the Satanism is.
Exactly.
It's like the heroin of Satanism. Yeah. You only have to play it for 9 hours, and it'll prompt you to kill yourself.
Yeah, I heard they find serial killers with a copy of The Catcher in the Rye and a couple D20 dice.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But when you simply do the proportionality of 5 million people playing it, some of them might have mental problems. That's a pretty high number. And even if we go with that full 28, which is completely unsubstantiated and was never proven, that number 28, that's still disproportionate. Just because somebody played it does not mean there was any causation of Dungeons and Dragons, but that did not satisfy people. And this particular guy, Thomas Rednicki, I believe was his name, was on 60 Minutes talking about how he had heard reports. Oh, and he was actually the head of a psychiatric organization and a professor, and also the chairman of the Parental Television Council Against Violence. I forget what the actual name was, but this guy, this guy talks about how he had reports of parents who actually saw the demons that were being summoned by their children, and says it on 60 Minutes.
intense involvement in a very serious form of violence.
She felt so strongly that it was responsible for her son's death that she formed a network of concerned people to warn others about the dangerous aspects of the game.
For any good bit or moral outrage.
And just to let you know, fast forward to the end, Thomas Rednicki is currently in prison for trading opioid addiction medication for sex. Yes.
If you traded opioid for sex, you might be a Rednicki. Right?
Sounds like a loser that got pwned. Like an owl bear stole his bag of holding, and he just couldn't take it. Noob.
And so that's just a very quick recap of the Satanic Panic. And it's funny, the more we do it, the more I'm just so shocked that this is our reality, or that it was our reality at some point, because it is so ridiculous. But now let's move on to music.
It's a moral attack on imagination.
Yes.
Dungeons and Dragons is people using their imaginations. Let's outlaw it.
And delusional people who simply cannot accept responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be a scapegoat, and one of the most prominent was heavy metal music. The lyrics and imagery of many heavy metal bands made them an easy target, and the fans were often characterized as outsiders who didn't fit into what people considered the social norm. Once the fervor spread, it didn't take much convincing for those who were brought up in religious households to believe that the devil was influencing the nation's youth through music. After all, they were already predisposed to dislike heavy metal, and the kids that did like it dressed weird and grew out their hair too long. So clearly, they were up to...
Was there ever a long hair phase for Andy?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That's funny. How about you, Gummi?
Gummi had a mohawk.
Nice.
Very
pretty
cool.
much like this, but it was green. But pretty much a high spike one. Now I'm fucking bald as fuck. But yeah, there was back in the day.
That's funny. I had longy-ish hair. Like it went down to my chin. That's about it.
Yeah,
No,
I was the weird kid because like I had this kind of look. Imagine this kind of look in the hood, and you can imagine the looks I got.
Yeah,
that's why I never fit anywhere.
I hear you.
And besides, they had evidence, like the case of 17-year-old drug dealer and self-professed Satanist Ricky Casso.
Does anybody know this story? Ricky Casso.
He does not look 17.
That's crazy, right?
That's a rough 17, yo.
That's why they're so terrified of him.
Yeah. Bro.
This is another crazy story, and what is a collection of crazy stories of, in hindsight, just not understanding how there was a connection made to Satanism, but whatever. Here it is.
The only way I believe he's 17 is if he was in prison from 5 through 16.
He just put that on his intake form in police. He's a 45-year-old man.
High on mescaline and proceeded to murder his friend, Gary Lawlers.
Dateline, Northport, Long Island. A quiet community rocked by reports a teenager was dragged through these woods toward a late-night ritual of death. An eyewitness said the victim, Gary Lawlers, was forced to pray to Satan as he was repeatedly stabbed to death. 2 young men were arrested. James Troiano was found innocent last month, but his alleged accomplice never made it to trial. Ricky Casso committed suicide in jail the day after his arrest.
So the story is that this guy kidnaps this other guy and makes him pray to Satan before he kills him. That's the story that gets out. Let's hear some more of the details.
Making someone pray while you stab them. It's like, I pray, ow, ow.
Or before he stabbed him, I should say.
Well, no, the person you said they really made him pray while stabbing.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
It's like digging your own grave. It's like, just kill me. What the fuck?
Like, bro, put it in order. Don't do it at the same time.
I'm sorry. If I'm distracted, it's because I'm trying to find a photo. I have a desk with photos in it. I'm trying to find one of me with long hair.
Oh. I saw a thumbnail.
Despite numerous signs that Casso was into Satanism and rock music associated with devil worship, police steadfastly refused to label this case satanic. The official explanation, a drug-related crime.
Despite the police refusing to call the crime satanic, the damage had already been done. The media clutched onto bits of the story that seemed to prove the point for them, such as Casso allegedly slicing out his friend's eyes, or witness accounts that Casso had commanded Lowers to say you love Satan before murdering him. These details led to media insistence that the murder was ritualistic and, yes, satanic. According to Fisher, Casso told some that he killed Lowers because Satan told him to. He believed that the devil had manifested in the form of a black crow, and when its caw coincided with Casso asking if he should take Lowers' life, he interpreted it as Satan's approval.
Okay.
Should I kill him? All right, I'll do the
You heard the crow. You can't deny.
I think I'll show these. I mean, I'm so tempted to show my prom date because she was fucking hot, but I don't want to dox her in any single way.
We'll cut it out.
Yeah, I'll put my face on top of that picture, on top of her head. Please do that, Luigi. I'll send it to you green screen.
Yeah.
Whoa! She is cute.
She is cute, but I'm laughing at Andy's hair. Look at that hair.
Wow.
This is the band that I was in I think it was junior year or senior year. I'm on the ground in the middle in the brown shirt, but if you're wondering if Satanic Panic is justified, it's because of people like this.
Ha! Wow.
Okay, what was the name of your band?
Which one are you?
I'm on the brown shirt on the bottom.
Oh, I see it now. Okay, give me a second.
And actually, that's Kevin if this is the left. On the right, that's Kevin, the original co-host of WATP.
Ah.
He was the drummer in this band.
What was the band's name?
Ariak. You always have to have a forgettable, unpronounceable name.
Was that an acronym?
Yeah, was that mean anything? No.
Oh.
I don't even know what I'm sure it meant something, but you do enough reading and you're like, oh, that sounds creepy. So let's that be our band name, and then break up because the guitar player, that one person on the top right was a woman that was dating the drummer. That was dating the drummer, and
that's bad.
They couldn't get along, and that's always what does a band in. But
oh boy.
Anyway, that's
you have to learn that at some point. Maybe being a teenager is when the best time to learn that.
Yeah, and learn not to wear your hair like that, the way that I wear.
All right. Yes, we will absolutely cover those up. So the situation here is that this guy murders somebody. He's obviously not well. He's crazy. The police department refuses to label this any kind of crime motivated by Satanism amidst, questions because of the Satanic Panic.
You know what? I'm shocked. I'm going to be honest.
Well, wait till you hear the rest. Now, he is, of course, we're hearing these stories about him talking to this crow and believing it's Satan.
That's all I keep thinking.
Hey, just this, this look in his eyes of, it's not up to me anymore, man. You heard the crow. And it's even going to get a little bit weirder, but then we're going to kind of see a little bit of context as to what was going on.
It certainly didn't help that Casso's own father reportedly acknowledged that his son read books about witches and witchcraft and wore clothing that featured satanic symbols. And although there was a so-called cult involved, Rolling Stone reports the Knights of the Black Circle turned out to be a fading organization of cat-burning, dope-dealing delinquents to whom Casso was not particularly close. Mm-hmm. In fact, it was found that the killing was
So the guy says that he's in this cult, and they look into the cult, and it's really just a bunch of hoodlum kids. It's just a bunch of shithead kids causing trouble.
Apparently revenge due to the theft of drugs. According to the New York Times, authorities said Mr. Casso had told them that the victim had stolen from him 10 bags of a powerful illegal hallucinogen, phencyclidine, known popularly as PCP or angel dust, which is known to produce violent and unpredictable behavior. Still, the link to heavy metal came, and if not earlier, then certainly on the day he was arrested when he was wearing an AC/DC shirt.
So that's where it came from. It was a retaliatory murder for stolen PCP. And I guess this is the satanic crow that gave the order to kill.
Ah, kill.
Perfect. That needs to be a character. We need to give him a name.
I gotta figure out how to figure something. No, it's just Crow, but it's with a K. Like to make a metal.
A backwards K.
I vote for Tipper.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Tipper Crow. Kill.
On board. Kill. I'm doing the rest of the show like this.
It's also adorable.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. Worship Satan.
Yeah. That's like the South Park Christmas critters.
Yes. Time for the blood orgy. That's great.
It's just an owl, but I just made him black.
I know.
I just put an owl in blackface, and here you go.
This is
reading my face. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. It's just not reading my face. Oh, it doesn't matter.
It's essentially just a typical drug case, but the guy was high on PCP and having a completely psychological break with reality. Yeah. So the police simply say, look, the guy's saying Satan, he's a lunatic. This doesn't have anything to do with Satanism, but that's not good enough for the media, and they report it. And the fact that he's wearing an AC/DC shirt lends some sort of evidence to it being satanically inspired.
Oh, this gives me an idea. I'm going to go kill a bunch of people wearing a Taylor Swift shirt. I like this.
I like it. It. I'm on board.
No, it's AC/DC, a crow, devilish crow.
Now we need a Taylor Swift crow to give orders to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, look what you made me do.
All right. So this is all just giving context to, again, media sensationalism, media not really wanting to listen to facts or listen to authorities like the police saying there's no evidence to suggest this is so satanically motivated. But then again, the media just doesn't care. They just really want to have their own story, their own spin on the facts to sensationalize it. And now we're at 1985.
The Purple Rain album.
And that is when this congressional hearing happens.
For our 11-year-old.
This is Tipper Gore. She was a very vocal leader of the PMRC.
I felt that it was inappropriate for her and her 8- and 6-year-old sister to hear a song describing a girl masturbating in a hotel lobby with a magazine.
So, to recap, she bought this album sight unseen. The lyrics were printed on the album. It was the soundtrack to an R-rated film, and she played this for her children without any previewing of it whatsoever. Tipper doesn't blame herself. She doesn't blame her daughter. She blames Prince. This situation was Prince's fault.
And that goes to exactly what we were talking about earlier, where this all starts with the fraud and turns into coping, scapegoating. This is now just a full-on demonstration of people who do not want to accept responsibility and want someone else to blame. And that guy, I left that in there because I just thought he did such a great job of saying, here are all the things you could have done as a mother who is sincerely concerned with what their child is hearing and listening to, and you did none of them? But instead you're going to now sit in front of Congress and say that it is artists' fault for making their music available to your children, and you're concerned about it and want to give restrictions on it? Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. I was just going to say, do anything except parent your children.
Or be concerned. And it's obvious that your actions show a lack of concern, but here you are pleading that you have a very deep concern for what your kids are listening to. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
There you go. I got it. Luigi, sorry. Look, put me full screen. I got the horn now.
Yeah, there you go.
Wings out, wings out.
Hail Satan!
Prince's Darling Nikki ended up on the PMRC's Filthy 15, a list of songs they felt represented the most explicit music of 1985.
Pause that. I'm just interested what the rest of the list includes.
I was too, and there's a song there by Vanity called Strap On Robbie, Baby. I don't know what that means, but obviously...
That's a karmic song.
it was obviously filthy enough to make it to this list.
Dress you up? Madonna, dress you up.
Dress you up? Really?
I know that
We're
Cyndi
not going to
Lauper's...
take it. We're not going to take it isn't even a deviant song.
That's funny.
Just because it's a rebellious song, but
That's
not
exactly what it is. Probably dead as rebellious.
But it's not she-bop. That's about jerking off.
Yeah, I never knew that until recently.
Yeah. It's not good.
But you see there's a rating on the right there with those letters, and we're going to explain what they're saying is, and they're about to say this, is that Twisted Sister is promoting violence with we're not going to take it.
So, it's the only one with that rating. Take note. Oh no, there's Motley Crue too, but
5.
Subject matter might contain one of 4 different objections. One was things that were violent, or in some cases may have even encouraged acts of violence. There was sexual references. There was drug and alcohol references in songs.
Take a close look at this list and you'll see one genre disproportionately called out: heavy metal. And a 4th rating, an O for the occult. Rock stars have always been accused of being a cohort of the devil. The legendary story of blues guitarist Robert Johnson's career is that he sold his soul to the devil so he could play better. That was in 1937. When the blues became rock and roll, that mythology became a full-on aesthetic. From the Beatles featuring Aleister Crowley, a known occultist on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band,
Friend of the show,
to the Rolling Stones upping the ante with an album called Their Satanic Majesty's Request. But it wasn't until rock and roll birthed heavy metal that Satan and the occult became a central character in popular music. Black Sabbath are widely considered the original heavy metal band. They released their first album in 1970, and it featured a figure in black on the front cover. That gloomy aesthetic extends to the very first track, which opens with a giant crash of thunder and ominous church bells.
I don't know about you guys, but I heard Black Sabbath for the first time when I was a teenager, and it blew my fucking mind. I remember just loving everything about Black Sabbath when I was a teenager. I loved it. It was great.
Yep.
I can't imagine living in the time when it was new. You know, it had already been out for 20 years, you know, when it was new.
That was literally, sorry, not to interrupt.
Go ahead, please.
I was literally just saying this at band practice that if I could exist in any decade of time to experience music, it would be 75 to 85. That is, I mean, we're talking 70 here, but they were firing on all cylinders by 75. And it's just, everything was raw and new and just like groundbreaking in that the late 70s. And,
to hear this new style of music and to relate to it and to, you know, actually have an emotional connection with it and feel like, wow, this music gets me, or I get this, you know, something so unique. Yeah, it really must have been blowing minds everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Hey, and Black Sabbath just so, to this day, influential on metal. Like, you can't be a metal band and not have it be informed by the influence of Black Sabbath.
100%.
Even hard rock acts like AC/DC referenced hell and Satan as signs of rebellion. By the 1980s, heavy metal was mainstream. On one end, there was the highly melodic and commercial bands like Motley Crue and Def Leppard. On the other end, darker, more intense groups like Merciful Fate and Slayer. Across the spectrum, though, remained a very clear aesthetic. Albums with gothic typefaces and visual and lyrical references to the occult, hell, evil, and violence. In 1981, with the launch of MTV, music videos became a part of the daily...
Yes, sir.
I just love how they're looking at this going, you know, that Scottish midget that's wearing a schoolboy outfit? That's got to be satanic.
Exactly. Exactly.
So evil.
Because he put on devil horns on an album.
You could literally pick him up and put him in your pocket. It's not a threat to anyone.
Or Ronnie James Dio, they're, you know, on the screen right now. You ever seen Ronnie James Dio? He was a little person.
Yeah. Thank God that guy could sing, because he is a
He had to. He had to learn how to do something.
Exactly, yeah.
by the way, now that I see like with the album covers, you guys know, I don't even know what you call that font where it's like white and it's like especially like black metal bands do. You can't even like read what it says.
Oh, I hate that.
It's called, I believe it's called Brutal.
Right.
Like,
there's
like
so I had a client hire me to make them design her a t-shirt where it's the singer Selena, from the Mexican singer, but it says like Selena in that font. So it's like a metal album of her.
Oh wait, hang on. Let me see. Do I have this sticker?
I once saw a shirt that said Celine Dion in like that font, and it was a picture of Celine Dion.
Yeah. So it's a couple pictures of Selena with like that above the name. So.
Oh, I don't know where it is. The Lucy Tightbox logo. Has anybody seen that?
Oh yes, yeah.
She's got beanies and stickers available. So go get your very own Lucy death metal logo.
Speaking of Ronnie James Dio, if no one has ever seen the documentary Dumb, D-U-M-B, the story of Big Brother magazine, it is the history of what eventually became Jackass. It's on Hulu. It's a great documentary. But these guys played a trick on Ronnie James Dio that is really fucking funny, where they would do real interviews, but basically they would troll celebrities. And this guy shows up at a bar and is super friendly to Dio, and there's a camera crew filming them, and he asks like a couple of legit questions, and Dio is totally comfortable, and he goes, "Hey, can I ask you another question? There's this album cover where and he pulls out this album cover where he's on the cover and he looks really tall, and he goes, 'Are you this tall in real life?' He goes, 'Because I'm looking at you right now, and you don't look that tall.' He goes, 'Did you maybe increase the size of this?' And man, Dio gets pissed, and he's like, 'I'm gonna kick your fucking ass.'" It's really funny.
You know what's amazing? This has nothing to do with anything, but that song, "Rock Steady" by the Whispers. This is an old song that you probably recognize it if you heard it, but it was a one-hit wonder. And the lead singers are these two twin brother black guys that are excessively short, especially compared to the rest of the band. And the video culminates in basically a Pokemon-esque glow up of these guys. You remember The Simpsons where they say Bart's too small to play Fallout Boy? So then he shows up with a chihuahua and platform shoes and his hair's real way up. Yeah. The end of Rock Steady. This video is so fucking funny and the song is so good. The twins are wearing like 4-inch heels and their flat tops are teased like way high to make them look even taller. So that your Dio story reminded me of that. Go check out Rock Steady by the Whispers. It's a fucking great song.
Is that the song? And we're gonna rock steady.
Yep. Steady rocking all night.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I've never seen the video to that.
Oh, watch the video. Okay. It's hilarious.
Yeah, that song is a banger.
Yeah, that's funny.
TV diet of kids across the US. But it wasn't all kids. It was mostly white teenage boys who were MTV's core demographic, because most of the communities wired for cable were in suburban, largely white neighborhoods.
That was something that as I was doing the research for this, I don't think I'd ever really kind of tuned into, which is that everyone involved with the Satanic Panic was white. Everybody were like, reviewing all of the, people who were opposed to it, the people who were supposedly the victims of it.
Yeah.
All white.
Yeah, this was 10 years before Def Comedy Jam's White People Crazy.
Yeah. This was a white people problem. And it just never dawned on me. I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm. It's a symptom of privilege, just like whatever, trying to figure out what your gender is or being vegan. It's like your biggest problem is that is what you deem morally valid to eat, instead of trying to figure out where your next meal is going to come from, like a majority of the world. Your biggest problem is that you want to pick something ethical to eat, and you have so many choices that you could pick from. Let's pick the thing that makes you feel the best because you have no real fucking problems.
Yep. To quote Chris Rock, you think they got lactose intolerance in Rwanda?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Luigi, you there?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to do some research on looking it up, but yeah, it's a really interesting thing. Yeah, on white people. But
yeah, white privilege is annoying for everyone.
When heavy metal came on, you could pretty much count on it being incredibly outlandish.
At the same time that this is happening, there's this cultural movement happening in the United States.
If you're into rock and roll today, let me warn you.
People who would tour around evangelical churches and basically scare the shit out of the parishioners by telling them that Satan was controlling the entertainment industry.
Satan is using the rock groups as
they're literally doing that now
to evangelize.
Exactly, and like, but again, like we talk about these people who go on tour, you know, to tell other people about it. It's just it goes nuts.
Yeah, everybody's saying that now with like Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Oh yeah,
that Doja Cat, that they're all like satanic, and what's his name? The gay black dude who did the country song rap.
Lil Nas X.
Lil Nas X.
I mean, I have no idea. I don't know.
I mean, well, then, in all fairness, he did get banged by the devil and snap his neck, so you know.
But have you guys ever seen the musical, The Music Man?
No.
This is a grifter. The whole production, it's usually a stage production, but it's also a movie. And it features, I think, the mom from the Partridge Family or something like that. And Buddy Hackett. It's worth watching it for Buddy Hackett. But this con man, I know Luigi will be into this. You guys will both be into it. He shows up into town, and Buddy Hackett's his friend. He's like, what's popular right now? And Buddy Hackett says, oh, they got a new billiard table in town. And this is all like the 1920s or 1910s. A young Ron Howard is in it. So this guy is just like, oh, the billiard, everyone's into billiards. That's a problem. I'm going to sell musical instruments to get people to stop playing billiards. And there's a whole song about how the parent, like the kids and the husbands are being influenced by Satan through the pool table, and the only way for them to get away from it is to buy a trumpet from this trumpet salesman. It's like the monorail guy in The Simpsons.
I know that episode is based on The Music Man, but no, I've just never seen.
Well, that whole song about the monorail. Is basically that song from The Music Man about billiards. So it's a really interesting. It's a good movie. I've seen it a couple of times. It used to be on WXXI whenever they were fundraising. They would show it, and it's a good movie. But it speaks to how they've been doing this forever. Is the point that I'm trying to make. They will always take something that's popular and say that it's evil because you're spending money on that and not giving it to the church.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, I think that sums it up pretty well.
Mm-hmm. The youth of the world.
That fringe group quickly morphed into a wave of evangelists.
He looked like
rock music.
negative Lionel Richie.
Yeah, he did. That was.
I thought that was Jim Baker.
No, the first guy. He had every '80s trope, like the mullet, the mustache,
the members only jacket.
Even Christian rock apart in front of a national audience.
One young man with an earring in his ear and his hair down to his back, singing rock music, says his pastor told him to do that. It'll win the kids.
To the growing religious right, all of pop culture was just hell on earth. Everything from the game Dungeons and Dragons to this Procter & Gamble logo were under scrutiny. But it was rock music, and heavy metal in particular, that seemed...
If you don't know that Procter & Gamble logo, people said that the curls of the beard look like 666.
I remember that.
And they had to defend themselves.
to get the most attention.
It seemed to be the crazier their claims were, the more bookings they got. So it became a financial incentive for them to make these ludicrous claims about the music industry.
Like the Truth About Rock seminar by the Peters Brothers.
Are you ready for Truth About Rock? The Peters Brothers seminars and bonfires have drawn press attention from coast to coast.
Here they are outside a Kiss concert.
When I see the way these people are encouraging kids to live, there is no doubt in my mind we have got to be more militant in our own stand, Steve.
There was literally a feature-length movie called Rock, It's Your Decision, about a kid named Jeff struggling to choose between listening to his favorite music and God.
When I went through my own record collection, I was shocked.
What'd you say?
We got to do a watch along. I'm already sold.
That looks terrible.
Isn't sex the major theme? And the occult too? And what about the lifestyles of the popular groups and artists? Some are admitted homosexuals.
Spoiler alert, he chooses God.
Some are admitted homosexuals.
Like
All right, now I'm back on board.
There were rock record burnings across the country. Bands like AC/DC and Kiss even had to prove their names weren't acronyms for satanic worship.
KISS. That's all it stands for. However, you guys
Knights
say,
of
oh no,
Satan
that stands for
Service.
Knights of Satan Service.
So we need to talk about KISS. Does their name really stand for Knights in Service to Satan?
Not surprisingly, the craziest claims were
How do you
the ones
prove that it
traveled
doesn't?
furthest.
Yeah, just it's crazy that this happened. It's just crazy, especially when we can compare it to a world now today where we have phones where we can actually look up information and history and verify and confirm so many different things. It's crazy.
Also, I always thought the record burning shit was dumb because y'all motherfuckers spent the money on it anyway. They made their money. It's like all the people. Remember a couple of years ago when people were cutting they're like burning their Nike shoes or cutting the Nike off the swoosh off their socks. It's like, well, you guys paid them already. What does it matter what you do? They don't give a fuck what you do with it.
I think Gene Simmons. I remember some in the research I was doing for this episode. There was research that Gene Simmons at some point had said, "Hey, if you don't like my records, buy 1,000 of them and burn them."
Exactly. Yeah. I'm sure he said that last week.
Yeah.
One of them was backmasking.
The idea was that there were things you could hear when you were playing the record backwards. That somehow when you listened to it forward, your brain could still hear the message, flip it around, decode it.
It wasn't just the record covers or the written lyrics. These evangelists believed rock music was a breeding ground for satanic subliminal messages. Backward Masking Unmasked was a book written about subliminal messages in rock music. It was sold in churches across the country. One of the most legendary and famous allegations was that Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven, played backwards, said, "My sweet Satan."
I'm gonna fast forward now, and you can kind of get a feel for the song. Very mellow, almost pretty.
Back to Stairway to Heaven, here's that same section, reversed.
In every single instance, the only way the audience could really successfully hear the satanic message was if the guy said the phrase before he played the song in reverse.
Backwards it says, "Here's to my sweet Satan."
Here's to my sweet Satan.
How many actually heard that?
Backmasking became national news.
Now, I want to make it clear that this is not a proven science.
No, it's so stupid. And anybody that's ever tried, I mean, if you play Hip to Be Square backwards, it says, "Get a fucking life, loser." What are you doing? Wasting time.
And like there's so many layers of the theory that have to be considered. One theory is that, that first off the message is there, in the first place. Second of all, that your brain can comprehend it, and third, that it's going to somehow influence or control your actions. That is all part of what this theory was with the backmasking. None of which are proven, but somehow it got taken seriously to the point of, well, we're going to see how far it goes, but
it's because your 17-year-old son is realizing that you've been lying to him for the vast majority of his childhood and is taking exception with you, and you're trying to figure out an excuse for why this is happening instead of blaming yourself.
Yes. And what I believe the term is mental gymnastics. What mental gymnastics you have to go through to develop this theory and so many layers of this theory to say, not only did you do this, or not only does this sort of thing exist, but it does exist, and you did it, and it took control of my child's brain and actually forced him to do something against his will. Like, that is a lot of layers of action that it's crazy anyone would believe it, but not only did they believe it, they pursued it
I know.
as being a fact.
You're a fucking grown adult that can think for themselves, and you're buying into this.
Yeah.
It's all true. God!
Yeah. It's one thing to trick children. They're stupid. You're a fucking grown up.
What do you have to say about it, Crow?
It's true. God!
Oh, I like that you've added the bat wings.
Yeah. I have 2 sets of wings.
Not only that,
you guys remember that movie, The Gate? With
oh yeah,
when they had to play the record backwards to bring those little demons out.
Yeah,
that's a perfect
with
product.
The height of this.
Yeah, perfect product from the Satanic Panic. And
with
if
that kid from the Wonder Years, who grew up to be Marilyn Manson,
and a young Stephen Dorff. It's funny now I'm thinking about it. I believe that movie came out in 1987. Which, man, that really was the sweet spot of this.
That movie's wild. That's a good movie.
That's actually a Canadian movie, too. If there's
when he got the eyeball in the hand, man,
that
stuck with me as a kid.
Yeah.
We might have to see if we can get away with watching that one.
And when the big zombie guy fell, turned to all little clay guys.
Yes.
Yeah. I look at it now, it's hilarious. Back then, I was like, oh my God.
Claymation in horror always has like a special place in my heart. I love stop motion animation in horror movies. I love it so much.
1982, labeling albums with backmasked songs became a proposed piece of legislation.
You see that? That's how serious it was being taken. Well, we're sitting here talking about how no part of it was proven. It still hasn't been proven. It actually becomes proposed legislation.
Yeah. The rise of heavy metal coinciding with the religious right gaining power seemed to create the perfect storm for an urgent national debate around rock music. But it wasn't the rock stars that were the center of the conversation. It was their teenage fans.
The satanic message is clear, both in the album covers and in the lyrics, which are reaching impressionable young minds.
More likely than not, your kids have already seen and heard what some of you will see and hear for the first time tonight.
When a form of music that our children like becomes linked with ghoulish images and violent theatrics and even suicide.
You're a ghoulish image, bitch.
I was, it's just funny. Like, we're talking about grown people. These are, these are media personalities saying music. Not even that there's a real world effect, but music is associated with a ghoulish image. We're still talking about art being associated with other art. Yeah. Wow. Wait, here we go. Hold on.
Oh my God.
No.
Guys, we got to take Monster Mash out of the rotation. It's too fucking evil right now.
Can you believe that this music is associated with a ghoulish image? Shut up. This is ridiculous.
Fun fact, Barbara Walters and Connie Chung sold their souls to me. Sorry, I'm running with this.
No, I like it. Please, we're definitely gonna have you in episode 4. Definitely, we need one of these.
Take a look look out for a Crow shirt sometime soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Only comes in black.
I got this for moments just like this.
Bullshit.
Yeah, it's amazing. Amazing.
Our attention. Perhaps more to the point, the children need our attention.
One of the biggest reasons for the backlash against rock music, though, stems from this chart. In the 1980s, the youth suicide rate was rising, particularly among the same demographic that was listening to heavy metal. Teenage boys.
The kids that listen to this music are killing themselves and each other because of it. The music is called heavy metal.
4 young people died in a suicide pact. A heavy metal cassette box was found at the scene.
For a lot of young people, the
Not even the
intensity of
cassette,
heavy
just the
metal
box.
had a big
And again, back to like the Dungeons and Dragons conversation, 5 million people were playing Dungeons and Dragons, and some of them committed suicide. There is a correlation. There is not causation, but that doesn't matter to these people spreading the news. And again, here we go. We don't even know how many people were listening to heavy metal music, but it's probably more than 5 million. I'm going to guess probably more.
At least the D&D kids had the fucking books and the dice. This was just a cassette box.
Exactly.
That's like
heavy
box, and I killed myself. Domino's killed him. Sorry, Andy.
A heavy metal cassette box. Oh, you mean a radio was there? They had a radio.
A radio with a Nirvana sticker on it.
I'm not even thinking of the radio. I'm thinking like the actual case that the tape comes in.
Oh.
Box.
That's funny.
That's what I'm thinking. Like it's that. That's why I'm like.
Oh. Yeah, you're probably right. It was the case that Black Sabbath, that Nativity in Black came in.
Yeah, but no cassette.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They just said the box. It's just like,
Remember how they used to make the CDs so the packaging like this long? So
yes, the cardboard. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's funny.
big draw, which also made the genre a scapegoat.
If it's too loud, you're too old.
Take Jay's father, for example.
Shirt.
He never shared his son's devotion
That's
to
the
the
real
music.
problem with metal.
Turn it down.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
It crossed over.
I didn't tell him to wear that.
He's not one of ours.
I said that was not on me.
Music he likes to listen to, and if
Would you? No. I turn it up.
In this New York Times article
Archie
about
Bunker
youth
thinks
suicide,
his son
there are
looks
a few
gay.
possible factors.
Yeah.
Family breakups, drug abuse, dwindling job and educational opportunities, and of course, the growing availability of guns. Heavy metal never made the list, but the media persisted in looking for answers in the music.
Every single...
So actual science and statistics are gathered as to what could be leading to the higher suicide rates. Heavy metal in an official statistic is never mentioned, but that doesn't matter.
No.
How
doesn't
could
matter
it
at all.
be?
I paid them off.
There are logistical, practical explanations, meaning people are more depressed because there's less jobs. There's more availability of guns. There's more depression. There's all of these reasons. Heavy metal had nothing to do with it, but my point is that it was official, officially, by official, I mean, accepted as truth, but still doesn't stop the media from saying, nope, it's heavy metal's fault, because it's already grown. The story's already grown a life of its own.
A kid, whose case we know about, who committed a violent act in Satan's name, was also into heavy metal music. What's your response to that, Alice?
Well, I don't really know. All I do is make music, I don't sit down and purposely plan to freak everybody out.
It's in this Satanic Panic environment that the Parents Music Resource Center was formed. Their main goal, create a rating system that would signify to parents how harmful music could be to their kids. They created a 33-minute PSA video that was eerily similar to films made by various Christian groups. But more importantly, their ties to Washington got them a meeting with the Senate.
Some rock artists actually seem to encourage teen suicide. Ozzy Osbourne sings Suicide Solution. Blue Oyster Cult sings Don't Fear the Reaper. AC/DC sings Shoot to Thrill.
I wonder if we can find that 33-minute video and watch that. That could be fun. So this is where we get to the biggest piece of the heavy metal puzzle as it belongs in the Satanic Panic.
By the way, I want to recommend a song real quick. It's not a metal song. It's actually a really slow song by an artist named Emily Autumn. Look, there's a song, no play it here, but look it up. It's called The Art of Suicide. That one is totally telling you, it's pretty much like Why Live This Life, just end it. Great song, though.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
catchy. Very catchy, slower song.
I think Tori Amos did something similar.
There's plenty of songs about suicide. Yeah.
Yeah, but this one's literally called The Art of Suicide.
But like full on encouraging suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the biggest part of this. I'm going to laugh every time you do that. Vance and Belknap versus Judas Priest. This one is so fucking unbelievable. And Andy, I believe you know a little bit about this also.
A little bit. Yeah.
Here we go.
In 1969, English rock band Spooky Tooth would release a song called Better By You, Better Than Me. The song would appear on Judas Priest's 1978 album Stained Class. And 7 years later, on December 23, 1985, two young men, an 18-year-old named Raymond Belknap and a 20-year-old named James Vance, who both hailed from Sparks, Nevada, spent the night drinking and smoking pot and listening to a Judas Priest record before making a pact to take their own lives. The pair of men went to a nearby playground at a church and attempted to end their lives with a shotgun. Belknap would die instantly, while Vance would survive, albeit being horribly disfigured, and live for another 3 years before finally passing away.
If you haven't seen pictures, I'm not going to show them, or maybe I will.
Is that the guy who looks like a ventriloquist dummy?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember. Okay, I remember seeing him.
He literally blew his face off, or at least from the nose down. He blew his jaw, his nose, his mouth off. Basically, he didn't kill himself right. He did it wrong. He failed at it.
What a fuck! You fucked up. Fuck up.
Yeah.
And if you've seen pictures of him, they're grotesque.
And I say, no refunds on your soul.
We don't want failures down here in hell.
Yeah.
So he is unable to take care of himself after this. And, well, you know what? I shouldn't spoil it.
He couldn't take care of himself with the gun either.
That's true.
Yes.
The LA Times reported his passing in 1988, claiming he was admitted to a hospital for depression before slipping into a coma and passing away. The paper claimed that a drug overdose may have resulted in him lapsing into a coma, and it was revealed that Vance left behind a 1-year-old daughter.
So I'm not sure why they're not confidently saying what led to his death, but I've read several reports that say that this guy was a really troubled guy. After trying to kill himself, 3 years go by where he's, living with this fucked up face, and that he was continuing to do drugs, and that he had a drug overdose.
What else are you going to do, though?
Yeah,
no blame, but I'm just saying I don't know why they wouldn't outright say it. But
this
that's what I
comes
heard.
to prove that there's somebody for everybody, because this guy shot half his face off, and yet the woman was so putting him in raw.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that, because that was the first thing I thought also, but I was afraid to mention
math. I was like, that's a 3 years at a 1-year-old.
I was afraid to mention it. I thought that might be insensitive of me to say, who is fucking this guy? And if you've seen the face, yikes.
Women are freaks, is what you were saying.
I gave him a really good deal on his soul.
Yeah. They are freaks and they fuck freaks.
Maybe, it was funny was I saw, when doing research, I saw several videos that...
he had to wear a bandana like a bank robber.
I saw several videos that blurred out the face because I think they were worried about it, violating some
throwing
up. Yeah, some kind of, YouTube terms of service. But I don't know. Maybe
it's like that woman that got her face ripped off by the chimpanzee. It's like just disfigured beyond recognition. Ugh.
I guess
she looked like the ending of the first Terrifier.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, do you guys see? Sorry, quick side note. There's a horror movie coming out about a family who has a chimp, and the chimp gets bit rabies. Yeah,
it's out. Yes,
it's out already. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw the trailer. I was like, oh,
yeah, it looks awesome. Or did you see Nope? The Jordan Peele movie Nope.
Oh, I did.
Oh, yeah.
I watched a lot of it.
Well, there's a whole sequence with the chimp attack and that too, which is to me the best part of the movie. But so Primate is basically a whole movie about that.
Yeah. The chimp Luigi gets rabies and just murders the whole family. He's
I
like,
see what you're pulling up down there, Luigi.
Yeah.
I don't want
to. You think this is safe to show?
No. I mean, it doesn't even look human.
Yeah.
Ugh.
All right, here's what you do, people.
I would not. I don't want to.
No.
Yeah, all right. I'm taking it out. Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. Imagine the clay Lionel Richie from the Hello video and then hit it with a sledgehammer.
Yeah. Somebody punched it.
Yeah. And that's what he looked like.
I'm surprised it took him 3 years to kill himself.
Yeah.
I would have just asked for the gun before I got on the ambulance. Like, can you give me the gun back?
Good job. Or like in the end of The Fly where he's like sliding the gun, like pull the trigger.
Yes.
He
He puts it right on his skull. He's like, shoot right here. Do not miss. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah. I think we're better off not showing.
Yeah.
The families of the victims soon turned their anger towards Judas Priest and their label CBS Records. They blamed both parties for their sons' deaths, alleging the band hid subliminal messages on their cover of Better by You, Better Than Me, which could be found if the track was played backwards.
All right, so just to summarize, 2 guys try to kill themselves, and the families, one of them is successful, and the families say they're not responsible for what they did. You know who's responsible? Judas Priest, the band. The band with the leather-clad gay lead singer who loves to talk about being a leather daddy. They're to blame. And they sue Judas Priest because they claim that there is a backwards masked lyric of them saying, do it. That's it. That is their claim. That a song about suicide had a moment that was backmasked where Rob Halford says, do it. That is the whole basis of their lawsuit, that this controlled the brains of their children to cause them to attempt suicide.
Yeah.
By the way,
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say real quick, I have the Rob Halford Funko Pop. Look it up sometime. It's awesome. It's so gay.
I have seen it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. He's got a whip in the hat. Oh my God. Sorry, Andy.
No, that's fine. I was just thinking about how this is all it took to sway people's opinions about what their children are consuming back then. And now we have AI chatbots with personalities that are actively talking kids into killing themselves. Yeah. It's amazing how far we've come, I guess is my point.
It is. But what's crazy about the contrast between the two is with the AI bot, you actually have someone saying, kill yourself. I mean, I think I know a little bit about that case.
That's not what the bot was saying. The kid was obviously disturbed, but it was like it's definitely a way more influential version of this. Backward masking.
That's my point, is that you actually had someone directly saying something, whereas this is so many layers of assumption and preconception and, leaps of logic of saying, you know what he meant when he said do it? Well, also, we don't know that do it is there. And also, we don't know that even if he did say do it, it would control the brain of this person. There's so many leaps of logic, but somehow it still makes its way to a court in front of a jury.
Yeah. Who said that it means suicide? Who
Exactly.
said that when they say do it didn't mean make me an egg salad sandwich. There's like, how are you connecting these dots?
Or bang each other if we're going for the leather daddy thing.
It's two guys. Maybe he was saying you two guys should fuck.
Right. He misunderstood blast them in the mouth.
Yeah. You guys totally misinterpreted the message.
I would believe that before I believe suicide. Especially they do an interview at some point where he says, we wouldn't be very good at our business if we're telling our listeners to kill themselves. Like he breaks it down to its very basic parts.
No repeat customers.
Right.
And there's so many leaps of logic here. The fact that it made it so far as to actually getting a judge ruling is remarkable. Insane. What motive did they have to do this? By the terms of the Satanic Panic, their only motive had to be infiltration of satanic ideals. That's it. That's all it had to be in order to qualify as a motive. And is there any science to suggest that their backmasking is real, or I'm sorry, that this particular case of backmasking existed? Or is there any science to suggest that it would control your brain if it did? If it was there? None whatsoever. But still, it made it that far. But let's talk a little bit about the progress of this trial, because that plays a lot into what I believe was ultimately the death of the Satanic Panic.
They'd allege. Amongst these subliminal messages they alleged to be included on the recording were, and I quote, "Do it and let's be dead." The lawsuit was spurred after lone survivor James Vance wrote a letter to Belknap's mother, which read, and I quote, "I believe that alcohol and heavy metal music such as Judas Priest led us to being mesmerized."
That was the basis of the lawsuit, was that he wrote a letter to his friend's mother, his friend who was successful in the suicide attempt, who says, the letter says, "I believe I was mesmerized by heavy metal music." And that begins this snowball effect of, he said it must be true. Let's find this connection to heavy metal music that was controlling his brain.
Heavy metal was put on trial as grieving parents demanded justice for their sons' deaths. This landmark case would transform music censorship forever and establish the legal boundaries that all artists follow today. Church billboards declaring rock music destroys souls lined the highways as Judas Priest toured America in 1985. In Washington, D.C.,
So we're seeing the culmination. This is the only reason I wanted this here, is we're seeing the culmination because guess what happened 2 months before, or 4 months before the two guys killed themselves? The congressional hearings. That was in September, and these guys committed suicide in December. And what was one of the topics mentioned? Suicide. So now we're seeing these, I hate to call them coincidences, but, these moments that are all kind of correlating, and this is only fueling and providing ammunition to the Satanic Panic proponents.
Yeah. And you also have to ask yourself, well, what's happening at the same time that the government is actually doing that they're trying to distract you from paying attention to, right? It's
we are just about to talk about that. Yeah, the Reagan era of trying to polish morality and ethics in America also plays a big part of this. There's a lot. There's really a lot going into this. And again, all correlating and all adding fuel to the fire.
Twisted Sister's Dee Snider defended metal against congressional accusations. That same year, Ray Belknap's mother sat in a church seminar on satanic influences in modern music.
So the guy who died, of the two that committed suicide, his mother had recently attended a seminar about satanic influences in music. So now this is fresh on her mind. And all of these details are all coming together and culminating into a lawsuit against Satanism. Ridiculous.
where the presenter specifically named Judas Priest albums as dangerous. The fear spreading through America was about to collide directly with the band's music. Reagan's America embraced traditional values despite its neon surface. Church attendance boomed. Evangelical TV hosts reached millions of homes. Pat Robertson told his viewers, "Heavy metal music is nothing more than demonic worship designed to lead our children straight to hell." Local news aired sensational stories with headlines like, "Death metal, is your child at risk?" linking teenage suicides, drugs, and violence to heavy metal. Parents searching for simple answers found them in warnings about satanic messages hidden in records.
A civil lawsuit would be filed in 1986, 1 year after the incident, but wouldn't go to trial until 1990 in the Paris home state of Nevada. The family sought a minimum of $3.6 million in damages to cover medical bills and support for Vance's daughter. It was 2 years prior that Ozzy Osbourne had been involved in a similar case over the lyrics to one of his songs, which allegedly drove a fan to take his own life.
Now, it's funny that I didn't even know about that case. I hadn't heard about that one, but this exact same scenario played out with Ozzy Osbourne, where a fan killed himself and he was served a lawsuit, but he actually was able to skate by.
But unlike the Osbourne lawsuit, which was thrown out of court because Ozzy's lyrics were protected under free speech, the same couldn't be said for Judas Priest.
So his gets thrown out of court immediately because the judge says that it's free speech. There's no arguing that it's free speech. It's protected speech, and what someone decides to do with their own, with their own free will has nothing to do with his lyrics. You can't blame him for it. But for some reason, this gets a different treatment. What is this?
I'm just saying, this is the guy that you're saying is responsible for all this satanic panic and these kids responsible for killing themselves. This is the end of the Judas Priest video Breaking the Law. Where the security guard, back when metal was brand new in Britain, they, instead of people just playing air guitar or playing their leg like a guitar, like a big homosexual, people were actually building fake like cardboard guitars and having fake air guitar with a cardboard guitar competitions, like Guitar Hero style. Remember when Guitar Hero was a thing? And
I do.
I used to play competitive Guitar Hero and win like hundreds of dollars playing it.
There's an arcade near here that still has a Guitar Hero machine. I may or may not visit it regularly.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, this is who you're worried about. This is the video of the artist that you're worried about, with this guy playing a fake ass stupid cardboard guitar. Oh, I think it cuts back to it. Where is it? There it is.
Satan.
That's so evil. Anyway,
do my bidding.
When we start talking about Judas Priest and thinking about that, it's it's absurd. How absurd do we need to get?
So with the Ozzy Osbourne thing, his immediately gets kicked out because of First Amendment protection. But the reason that the Judas Priest album doesn't get kicked out is because someone actually convinces the court that backmasking might be a thing. And if it is in fact a thing, it's not meant to be perceived, and therefore it shouldn't qualify as First Amendment speech. That is the only reason this made it as far as it did, was because someone actually convinced a court that there might be a scientific logic to backmasking, brainwashing, and controlling the minds of people. This really happened, folks. This really happened in our world.
Technically, subliminal messages aren't considered speech. The case involving Judas Priest became more about whether there were subliminal messages and whether they were discernible to the
Pause it.
What?
We're seeing like my blank shared screen and not
Yeah,
the featured
you got to switch screens.
screen.
Seriously?
The TV's next to, like, what you're playing is next to Andy. It's like a fourth screen. It's not the top one.
That's
like
not
a fourth
what I
bottom screen.
That's not what I see. Weird.
Did
hold
that
on.
happen last time? Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
That happened last episode.
Can you kick my screen?
No, because it's already gone.
Oh, it's gone on your end?
I don't see it at
I can
all.
kick it.
Yeah, but we see above is where it says just offline. It's above us. And then next to Andy is what you want to play. Ah.
Weird. Let me try this. Gonna remove.
Yeah, there you go.
Listener, and whether they can know what someone's
we're
thinking.
back.
Okay.
It may surprise you to know that the complainants originally took the band to court over another song called Hero's End from the same album. Jane Andrews, who served as a member of the band's management team, would reveal that the complainants took issue with the lyrics on the song, with Andrews recalling, "They tried to say the band were saying you could only be a hero if you killed yourself, till I had to give them the correct lyrics, which is why do heroes have to die?" Then they changed their plea to subliminal messages on the album they would...
Do you get that? Do you understand that? What they originally sued for was saying that they were encouraging, that they were using their First Amendment free speech protection, and they shouldn't qualify as for First Amendment protection, because what they were saying was encouraging suicide with the lyrics of this song. They filed a lawsuit to say that. And then someone from the band's management said, "You got the lyrics wrong. Here are what the lyrics say." And so they the attorney for the parents of the two guys then completely amend their lawsuit to say, "Well, then this is what we want to sue for: subliminal messages on the album." Crazy,
Sure.
right?
Sure. Okay. Why not? I mean, if Stuttering John and Tabor Benedict can submit amendment after amendment to their complaint, why not?
I was going to say, do you have to amend or do you have to start a whole new lawsuit? Because it's something different.
Well, it depends. More than likely, you probably could amend because you can remove and add it. And since like the ball's already rolling, you can just, say, "Hey, we still want to use this because all of the defendants are the same." You could probably amend it.
Okay.
Lucy does Dabbleverse emergency episode about the Satanic Panic.
Yeah. So what's crazy though is that they didn't do their initial research into the lyrics, and like they had to be told, "No, you're wrong." And thankfully, though, this person had enough sense to change his argument as opposed to just simply filing one on top of it, despite using your one and only redo in the world that you were discussing, Andy. But that's crazy that, this is all of the progressions or all of the steps that this stupid lawsuit had to go through, which was it was filed incorrectly, and then they changed it, and then they came up with the science, quote unquote, behind it, and it actually got believed.
Say, guitarist Glenn Tipton would tell Louder Sound, "It's a fact that if you play speech backwards, some of it will seem to make sense. So I asked permission to go into the studio and find some perfectly innocent phonetic flukes. The lawyers didn't want to do it, but I insisted. We bought a copy of the Stained Class album in a local record shop, went into the studio, recorded it to tape, turned it over, and played it backwards. Right away we found, 'Hey Mom, my chair's broken and give me a peppermint and help me keep a job.'"
So what they do is, in order to make their point clear, is that once you actually establish for an audience, here is what you're going to hear when I play this backward, and you set that parameter, it's almost like pareidolia. We're seeing a face in an inanimate object. The person hearing it is now primed to hear what the suggester has said. So
can I stop you just because I've never heard that before? What do you call that when you see the face in
pareidolia?
Pareidolia?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never heard that. I know exactly what you mean, but I never knew there was a term for that.
And there's like a part of it called audio pareidolia, which is like if you try hard enough to say that you're hearing something, you're going to hear it. And it's basically the basis for all the ghost hunting shows where you say,
or if you're saying like, "Oh, this water stain is the Virgin Mary," or the Virgin Mary is on a tortilla.
Exactly. Or if you tell someone, okay, there's this noise, but you're going to hear the noise say, "Hi, my name is Frank." If you establish it beforehand, people are going to hear what you suggest. Mm-hmm. So when they were saying that these people were hearing "do it" or whatever the other one was, "let's be dead," whatever that one was.
Just do it.
Yes. So what they do is they take they bought albums from a local CD store, and they said, "Okay, here's what you're going to hear." And one of them was, "Would you like a peppermint?" and help me keep a job, and something about a chair. Yeah. And when they played it for the jury was like, "Yeah, that's what I hear. I hear that too." And he's saying that is the whole basis of their argument, where they're saying that we said these things. We never said them, but they're priming you to do that because there might be some sort of correlation of sounds that sound like what they want you to believe is there. And that actually helps their argument.
The lawyers for Judas Priest and their label.
One of those is on me. I broke my chair and my mom wouldn't buy me a new one.
And does the devil like peppermints?
Yes. Yes, because spearmints for angels and queers. We do peppermint down there.
Contended that the band had no known subliminal messages on the record, and instead questioned the character of the two young men, pointing to their troubled upbringing as being responsible for their deaths.
Now, this is actually going to get to the point that you discussed earlier, Andy, where you said, why aren't the teachers doing a better job of being a parent? So the band, Judas Priest, while defending themselves, also say, hey, let's look into the backgrounds of these two guys and see if there's anything that might suggest types of behavior that led them to killing themselves. And let's talk about that.
LA Times even wrote a profile during the trial on the mothers as well as their sons, and it was less than flattering. The article would state that Belknap's mother had been previously married 4 times and that her son was the subject of abuse from her 4th husband, going on to write, and I quote, "Belknap showed no interest in school and, like Vance, dropped out of the 10th grade. Working a series of construction jobs, he acquired a sawed-off shotgun, a .22 rifle, and a dart gun. He drank alcohol, smoked marijuana, and according to James Vance, experimented with amphetamines and cocaine. Still, his mother insists that Belknap was not a drug abuser."
His mother still insists he never did drugs. Only cocaine and amphetamines.
Can we talk about the order of the rifles? Shouldn't you go dart, then .22, then shotgun? Don't start with shotgun saying what he owned.
Why was the dart gun even necessary for that gun to be included in that conversation?
He had a .22 dart gun, shotgun, and a ninja star.
And a slingshot. Yeah.
Saying he paid room and board, helped around the house, and always took part in family activities such as fishing, swimming, and backpacking. Court records
Therefore, he can't be a drug abuser. Amazing.
Also show that Belknap stole $450 from his employer in 1984 and took a bus to Oklahoma to visit his natural father. He gave himself up to the police and was placed on probation. Looking back on the events leading up to her son's death, Robertson says she thinks Belknap had one glaring fault. When it came to making decisions, Ray did not know how to take the lead. He was always a follower. As for Vance,
So basically what they're saying is Belknap, the guy who did kill himself, was a guy who really just didn't care about life, in that he quit school, had criminal, was a criminal, a thief, and a drug abuser.
Mm-hmm. And he owned a dart gun.
And owned a dart gun. And so their point of that is just simply saying, this is a guy that doesn't really show a lot of ambition or any real ability for enjoying life. Why are you blaming us? Mm-hmm. And so we talk about the other guy, Vance, the guy who survived.
LA Times would write, according to court documents, Vance's biological father abandoned his 17-year-old mother while she was still pregnant with his boy. Vance was held back to repeat the 1st and 2nd grades. At the age of 7, he was sent to a therapist for tying a belt around his forehead and ripping out handfuls of his own hair during class.
It's hard for me to visualize tying a belt around your head and ripping out chunks of hair, but whatever.
The paper would go on to write about a domestic altercation between Vance and his mother, with his mother telling the paper, "My biggest problem with the school system was that they would say James's behavioral problems came from home. No one would acknowledge that he had a learning disability until the 6th grade."
Now, Andy, remember what you said. And you were saying it in a somewhat satirical way, but sadly, this is exactly what you said, which is a mother trying to cope and saying, why aren't the teachers doing a better job? Because I don't want to be a mother 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Why aren't you taking care of my kid? And when they go and do something insane and crazy where the mother was not even aware of the behavior of it, they just need somebody to blame. And here she is saying, my biggest problem with the school system was they would say that his behavioral problems came from me. How dare they?
Well, this sounds like a different type of case where the teachers are dealing with this kid who's a problem while he's at school, and then he's a problem at home, and the parents are saying, you know, why can't they fix him at school?
Exactly.
And it's probably like undiagnosed, you know, chemical imbalance that is a medical condition that's not being treated, coupled with hanging out with this other guy that's full of apathy and doesn't really give a shit about anything. They're feeding off of each other. Nothing to do with Judas Priest.
Nothing to do with Judas Priest or any music whatsoever. But you're absolutely right. But what is just crazy is, yeah, you're right. Is that this mother is saying, yeah, there's a problem, but don't you dare say it came from me. Yeah. You know, it's your fault. There's no possible way that I could be to blame. Insane. Yeah. Or that I could be not involved or unaware. Yeah. Ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. So you don't have to get a degree to be a mom, and there's D+ doctors everywhere. So get a second opinion, lady. Try a little harder for your kid.
Now, what would she have done if there was like a New Kids on the Block cassette instead?
Yeah. Send them to Pray the Gay Away camp.
Either way, suicide or gay, they're coming down here. Am I right, folks?
Yeah.
Court documents also revealed that Vance's stepfather was, and I quote, a weekend alcoholic, and his mother also drank in excess prior to stopping in the early 70s.
That's what I was trying to get.
The Times would cite the same court documents that reported a history of drug abuse, with Vance attending AA and NA meetings and running away from home upwards of 13 times. Despite all this, Vance blamed music for her son's problems, telling
Vance ran away from home 13 times. And I believe he's 20 years old when this happens. Yeah.
In the paper, heavy metal changed his personality. When James started listening to Judas Priest, he lost all respect for authority, she'd say. The complainants had several star witnesses, one of which was author Wilson Bryan Key, who had written extensively about subliminal messages. The defense's other star witness claimed to be an audio expert, but it turned out he was actually a marine biologist who dabbled a bit in audio.
How do you make that mistake?
Dabblers, fucking dabblers.
Yeah, dabblers.
How do you make that mistake? There's a lot of prep time in hiring experts.
He listens to the words. They're like, kill yourself.
Sir, this is not Judas Priest. This is a bunch of dolphins. Ah, shit. I got my tapes mixed.
High notes.
Here's the news media highlighting these two witnesses.
James and Ray were chanting, do it, do it, do it. They did not even know where it came from. Do it.
It came from the Judas Priest album, according to Dr. Wilson Bryan Key, a professor of marketing who has written extensively on subliminal messages. He says the song Better By You, Better Than Me contains the barely audible words, do it, repeated over and over.
And each time do it is increased in hysterical intensity. So it's do it, do it, do it, do it. And we pulled 12 of those out of that one song.
Dr. Key,
a professor of marketing is basically a bullshit expert, is what that's what that term means.
And also in marketing, subliminal messages are meant to just plant a seed of something in your head. They don't control anything, the whole point of this lawsuit was to say that these messages were controlling their behavior. It's ridiculous. And that guy also looked like the Thing from Fantastic Four.
I would say also don't bring in Uncle Junior from The Sopranos to be your star.
Yeah. Isn't that guy late for meeting with the Reservoir Dogs?
That's a better one. Yes, much better. Fucking Charlie Chan.
These images of sex
Madonna's big dick
and
in
death and all kinds of things, from the Ritz cracker to 17th century art. He sees the word sex written in Lincoln's beard on the $5 bill.
So they're actually pointing to the credibility of that guy who says he sees stuff everywhere. And he says that they say that he claimed that he saw the word sex in Abraham Lincoln's beard on a $5 bill.
And he also saw sex in Lion King in the dust.
Yeah.
And he heard Aladdin tell the tiger, all good kids have sex. You know, all those rumors.
Are we sure that guy's not just super horny?
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
He was the first one to see the dicks in the castle of the Little Mermaid.
Those are pretty obvious when you know what you're looking for, though. But yeah, she's saying this guy believes that there's a conspiracy with everything.
There is no subliminal content on the Stained Glass album.
Observers of the music scene are frightened by this and other recent court cases.
I think right now the attacks on rap music and heavy metal represent a very essential threat to liberties.
The members of the Judas Priest band say they've done nothing wrong, that the whole notion of subliminal lyrics is preposterous.
Did you say do it sometime during the recording?
No.
Their main witnesses is Wilson Bryan Key, who's written books on subliminal messages.
What'd you say?
Probably at some point. It's not like it's an uncommon turn of phrase.
But you know what's
should I order lunch now, Rob? Do it.
Do it. I'm going to kill myself. What's interesting though is
do it. It's like,
what we're going to find out is that what they believe is the word do it actually isn't even the words do it. That's why that's actually kind of interesting. But here you go.
Must end before 16. This reoccurs in the lyrics. The idea that 16 is a high point in life. After that, it's all downhill, so pick your time and place and blow yourself away. Okay, the first line, read forward, says, new arms into adular bliss. Now, when you take that line out and play it backwards, you're getting this. Sing my evil spirit.
Did you hear that? Yes. All we hear is, and he's giving it context and like definitive words.
Even with the context, I don't hear it.
No, yeah. That was always my problem with backward masking. People would play examples of it, and I would never connect the dots. I was like, that's not what that sounds like to me. So
no.
I always knew it was horse shit.
Oh, you know who that guy looks like? You guys know the actor James Tolkien? He was the principal in Back to the Future, or he was also he was the cop in the He-Man movie.
Yeah. Yes, always bald.
Yeah, it kind of looks like him.
That is funny. Now that Andy mentioned Reservoir Dogs, I just think of Steve Buscemi saying, "Why am I Mr. Pink?"
Yeah.
Demonstrate the existence of these alleged subliminal messages, the prosecution recently brought in a man named Bill Nickloff, who was identified as an audio expert, but who turned out to be a marine biologist and only an amateur audio enthusiast. Nickloff set up some computerized equipment and proceeded to unveil what he seemed to think were such evil hidden messages as "do it" and "F the Lord." See what you make of this.
Would you tell us what of your reverse phrase?
Now, we heard that noise, right? It sounded like metal scraping on metal is really all I heard.
We are hearing now.
Expletive the Lord.
I think
he's saying that what he hears is "fuck the Lord." Now, I want to tell you like two flaws in this hypothesis is that I didn't even hear any human language. I heard what sounded like scraping. You know what it sounded like? It's like scraping your fingernails across an electric guitar cord. That's what it sounded like to me. And then also, why would a Satanist call Jesus the Lord when cursing at him?
If it said "not my lord," then that would have made more sense. Yeah.
So a lot of flaws in the logic. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
I heard bungalow. I literally heard the word bungalow.
I didn't hear anything. Yeah. They could have been playing back the B-52s for all I know.
I need a vacation.
All right, we're almost done.
Rock lobster, that's the real evil.
That's the real evil, yes.
What we're hearing today with regards to the real credibility of the witness, the whole case is based on this so-called expert's testimony, and it appears to be more and more shallow. You know, this guy has no qualifications, and you know, it just doesn't seem to be. They just don't seem to be able to prove in any way, shape, or form whatsoever that there are these subliminal messages on the album.
On the Better By You, Better Than Me song.
Now, to be perfectly clear on what we're talking about here, they directly say we did not do any sort of backmasking. And there is a way, actually, you can review audio to tell if something has been recorded backwards on it and placed as a track. And they, apparently are exonerated with that aspect of it, where they very directly say, we didn't do this. Yeah. And they test the audio, and then they find out it's true. That confirms their claim. There was nothing recorded backwards on the tracks of the master tape. And then but then also the other argument is, well, maybe what was happening was that this sound of "Do It" was played forward. but I mean, like they're clutching at straws basically. Yeah. So what we're about to see here is Rob Halford being asked to demonstrate the singing of the lyrics for the song to show where the sound might have come from.
This past Tuesday in Reno, Nevada District Court, Rob Halford repeatedly denied the previous week's findings of a so-called audio expert who searched long and hard for backwards messages in the music of Judas Priest.
What are the sounds that you hear at those locations on the 24 track made up of?
The sounds I hear are essentially my own exhalation of breath at the end of the line that I'm singing.
What he's saying is, what you're hearing as "Do It" backwards is my breath at the end of the song as I'm inhaling for the next lyric.
Mm-hmm. And to show that he didn't invent a way to sing forward in order to be understood backward, Halford even gave an impromptu performance.
Would you sing those two lines as you sang them?
Were we singing them?
Yes. Can you sing? You need a drink of water first?
So again, when the first argument of backmasking fails, their next argument, and they actually have to defend, Judas Priest has to defend against it, is, okay, maybe you didn't record something backwards, but what you did was you said something that was meant to be interpreted backwards. Are you following the logic here?
Yeah, like saying something phonetically forwards that would, if you play it backwards, it sounds like you're saying something.
Right. And then all of the other leaps of logic that we have to take from the beginning, which are, and in doing so, what you intended to do was control the minds of your audience to plant the seed for them to kill themselves.
Yeah.
Mr. Halford, are you saying when you exhale, Tiad comes out of your mouth?
Yes, that is what they're saying. How this made it this far into the legal process is baffling. This is absurd. This is like a Office episode where just something is taken, some absurd concept is taken way too far.
I think I get the right key.
So they're asking him to sing it.
Better than you, better than me. You can say what I can see.
Is the exhalation of breath?
Yes.
Is that a normal part of your singing?
That's the way.
In the end, the band...
So he does exactly what he recreates the sound on the album as simply being his breath and says, this is how I sing it. And this is the noise, not even words. This is the noise that you're interpreting as do it backwards and giving it the power to make people kill themselves.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Is that how you normally do it? Let's see you do it. You can't fucking sing this. Fuck you.
And
that's how you breathe?
Yes. And regardless of whether it's how I regularly do it, it's what's on the fucking album, which is the whole basis of this lawsuit.
How I wrote the song. Yes.
Yeah. So regardless of how I regularly do it, this is what I'm on trial for, and I'm recreating exactly what you're hearing. And I just cannot understand how something went this far.
And wouldn't be found liable for the fans' deaths.
And
but
of course,
as MTV would report here, the ruling didn't.
And of course, they win the lawsuit. They are not found liable. But what's crazy is the decision from the court, the ruling, isn't absolutely exonerating either.
Make anyone happy.
In a 108-page written decision handed out to the only parties on hand in court to receive it, the plaintiffs and their attorneys, Judge Jerry Carr Whitehead found that Judas Priest and CBS Records are not liable in causing the deaths of James Vance and Raymond Belknap. The words "do it" are present several times on the Stained Class album and are subliminal, but they are the result of a chance combination of sounds and are not intentional.
So he's giving, he's telling them, okay, fine. If you hear those words, do it, fine. They're there. But you know what? They aren't. They weren't intentionally put there. It is a random combination of sounds that put it there. But that's not their fault. Nor did they put anything in there intentional. And also, this does not control the minds of people. But it goes a little further.
There is no proof of backwards masking on the album, and in any case, no scientific proof that backwards masking can be perceived or affect conduct. The judge.
That's another part of it that got overlooked in the whole argument. Can a brain even perceive it if it is there?
Yeah. No, it can't.
No one thought to ask that question.
It's so stupid.
It's remarkably stupid. This feels like this was a different planet. When you really dig deep into this, how so many people could have really bought this.
The judge also ruled that corporate attorneys for CBS were inexcusably slow in providing master tapes of the Judas Priest album, and that had those tapes been provided promptly, the whole trial might have been avoided.
You hear that?
Yeah, that's your fault that this has gone on so long.
Exactly. He's saying that when the record label was asked for the master tapes to be analyzed, they took their time and didn't do it. Now, there was probably a proprietary issue. They were probably a little worried, saying, hey, you don't damage these. We need these. There were probably reasons. But the judge is saying you took too long. And had you handed them over, we never would have had to have this trial in the first place.
Bullshit.
Amazing.
In light of this, he fined CBS $40,000 to be paid to plaintiffs' attorneys to compensate for costly court delays. While Judge Whitehead ruled that the band and its record company have prevailed on the ultimate issues in this case, he also noted that scientific research into the effect of subliminal messages is in its infancy, and that this subject is simply not a closed issue.
So the judge very logically and reasonably says, what are we doing here? like basically throws his hands up in the air and says, what the fuck is going on here? There is no scientific evidence to substantiate any of this. What are we doing?
Yeah.
So to that extent, you have to applaud the judge for being smart. But still, it did go this far. And he had to hear these arguments. And he had to hear this nonsense. And this, again, mental gymnastics. It's insane. But what's crazy also is this is a quick, courtroom interview with the plaintiff's lawyer. And listen to what this guy has to say.
It means they've got to watch out. This certainly isn't going to be the last case like this. And I would certainly file another one tomorrow morning. Sooner or later, a case like this will win.
just a matter of time. It's always tough when you're doing a new thing, and it's difficult on the judge, it's difficult on the system. But this case will not be new 5 years from now. It will be the equivalent of cigarettes causing cancer. 5 years from now, we'll all know this music causes violence and death among adolescents.
So, I can never take a plaintiff's attorney sincerely. I never know if they're being genuine and sincere, if they're just saying what they need to say in order to keep their client happy. We don't know that he believed that.
Yeah, he might as well just have said, "Hi, I'm P.T. Barnum of the media circus. Let's keep this going because I'm on TV. Hi, Mom."
But also, whether or not it was intentional, he's still in a reluctant way feeding the proponents of the Satanic Panic, saying, we lost this battle, but you know what? We know that Judas Priest really is guilty of controlling the minds of their audience and leading to suicide and the, violent behavior. He's really digging his heels in the ground, and that's terrible. That's absolutely terrible.
Oh yeah. Hey, if you want to pay me to try and convince somebody that your kid isn't a fuck up, then I'm more than happy to take your money.
Yeah,
Dial
here's my number.
444-4444.
The last S is for savings.
Yeah.
No, it's for shotgun. Hey-oh.
The case's legacy contains contradiction. The lawsuit failed yet succeeded in changing music history. It centered on 2 teenagers' deaths, yet its lasting impact concerns artistic life. It sought to restrict content, yet ultimately strengthened protections for creative expression. When Halford sang before that skeptical judge in 1990, he defended more than Judas Priest. He defended the principle that artists cannot be held responsible for how audiences interpret their work. That principle now shields countless creators across all media.
But I'd like to also reiterate that while it does protect artists now, that case had a huge hand in creating what we now know as the parental advisory sticker. So while it was a victory, there still came not necessarily censorship, but a compromise of censorship and letting people know that you might not agree with the lyrics or the content of these albums. So it wasn't like a full victory. There was still censorship that came out of it. Now it's reasonable censorship. I get it. Yeah. We're not talking about actual, deleting or burning or anything like that, but it just wasn't a full victory.
Yeah.
So
it's like a movie rating. So the shortcut for parents to say, oh, maybe I shouldn't buy 2 Live Crew for my 8-year-old, but so exactly. I think, like you said, it's reasonable, but the lengths that people had to go to arrive at a perfectly reasonable solution is insane. Yeah.
Insane and absolutely unreasonable, illogical. And you're right. It's a lot like a movie rating, which is perfectly fine. But I believe that also did to some extent shift a little bit of the responsibility on parents, which I believe was a victory, where it was saying, don't just keep looking for scapegoats. Okay, now we're putting this warning label, and now you have to be the parent, the vigilant parent, to decide what your kids listen to and be responsible for it. And I believe that part's still a victory. So maybe it was an ultimate victory. Now that I think about it, I really hadn't thought about that last part until right now. Interesting. Well, there you have it, folks. That was the story of the Satanic Panic. And in my opinion, that since that lawsuit ended in 1990, I believe that really was where we started to see the end of the Satanic Panic, where that was a real death blow to the conspiracy theories. A judge says, essentially, there's no science to back any of this up. And while I'm not going to say it was a complete death, there are probably still plenty of fanatical Christians who are still saying, well, he just doesn't know. It's a spiritual battle. It's not a legal battle. Whatever. It dies off. And it rears its ugly head later in history, as we will see with political movements. But that particular thing, I really think, was the death blow to the
Some
Satanic
say
Panic.
it's a lawsuit. Some say it was grunge music.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Now, we're not done, though, because there is one other element of the Satanic Panic that we have not yet covered that we will cover. But I felt like on a chronological basis, that one really needed to come first because that one really was the longer of the story that covered a more long time frame. But the next one is going to be talking about the focus on daycare centers. And that one gets dark and weird and gross. But anyway, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. We did things a little bit differently, but that's just because life got involved and we had to record this episode. So sorry we didn't have a live episode. We will be back live. But before we go, please, Mr. Trucker Andy, plug anything you like.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun to talk about, reliving my childhood in a way. And if you want to know about what I got going on, we do apology tour jokes whenever somebody steps in shit, like a Diddy or a
John Cena.
John Cena, yes.
Whitney Cummings. Oh.
Yeah, we just did Whitney Cummings with Luigi over on Patreon at bit.ly/stay sorry. And you can support the show for $3 over there, or you can support the show for free. We do Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. live and on allapologiespodcast.com on YouTube, and the same on Instagram. If you want to support the show for free, please follow us YouTube and Instagram. Thank you.
Always love having you, Andy. Thank you so
always
much.
fun.
Appreciate it, man. You are always welcome here. I'd love to do any show that you are hosting at any time. Please don't ever hesitate to ask.
Same.
Edge Files.
Let's do Edge Files. Yeah, Edge Files.
Week from today. We're recording on Monday.
Yeah, so it'll be Monday.
Yes, this coming Monday when
this
comes
coming
out.
Monday. Yes,
Kaylee's doing something about a mathematician trying to prove that Satan is real.
I think you're right. I wasn't really clear on what this guy.
I'm excited to learn all about it, though.
I am too.
7 on Monday.
Yes, and Gummy, or I'm sorry, Crow.
I would like to start with Burke's Bus. That's like it's backwards. I had to learn that. I was teaching myself how to say that backwards.
Well done.
I tried. Pretty much this Friday. Okay, so over this weekend, I debuted one of my new shows, which is FAQ, where I play old arcade games. And every time I use a continue, I put a quarter in the vault. And at the end of the season, all that money is going to go to my local SPCA. So it's my version of doing like a solo fundraising thing for animals in my area.
I love that idea. Really do. And then hopefully, once we can get your channel growing, we can hopefully get some people to also help donate to the SPCA with you taking the lead. I'd love to see that.
So so I'm working like this month is still like haphazard. I'm throwing shit together, but the way this schedule is starting in February is first and third Sundays will be my horror show, my Chummy Game Saw. The second one will be FAQ, and then the fourth Sunday will be Dummy Game Saw, where I play simulator games horribly, where Luigi and I will play for the first episode of Power Wash Simulator.
I'm really looking forward to that. I'm more excited about that than I should be.
Hail Satan.
Right. Hail Satan.
Look for Crow merchandise soon.
I love that. Yes, and folks, please check out Hackride Studios, where we do Unboxing Eric, Unboxing Riley Martin, and Unboxing Bigfoot It Is on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Thank you so much for being here, and have a great week. We will see you next Friday live.
Yes.
Thanks. Thanks so much, everybody.
Do it. Do it.
That's right, it sucks.